we finished defensively in that 2-minute drive. We got to finish way better. But our guys battled. There's a lot of stuff we need to clean up, a lot of things we can grow in from that. Obviously, a couple things from the game for us. Tackling is a huge point of emphasis. We tackle poorly, which, once again, just like anything, I take full responsibility looking at the drills we do in practice, the different techniques we're using to tackle, the different, obviously, situations we're putting our guys in, because we did not tackle well on Friday night, which was a huge part of the explosive plays that came up, and a huge part of us not winning the third downs we needed to. We had multiple drives where we did a great job on first and second down, and then had them in third and long and lost. So there's actually one drive we had 3 third and longs and lost 3 of those. Like you can't do that. You work your tail off to get a third and long. Those are money downs for us. We got to be better, and I got to make sure our guys are in better spots. But proud of how our guys battled. Those are some things that we got to clean up going forward.
4 weeks into the season, and the pass defense still continues to be a struggle for you guys. You know, Andy was mentioning, great quarterback you guys are facing. So what's kind of what needs to be fixed there, do you think?
Yeah. Once again, it's not just one thing or one player or just a position group. It's how we work together. No different than a very similar conversation we had after the Washington game. There's obviously some things in the back end from a coverage techniques, situation we put them in, and growing those from an eye control standpoint, what they do. But we also got to create more pressure on quarterbacks too. We got to get them off platform. And so we're looking at it holistically in regards to, okay, what can we do a better job in regards to eliminating these explosive plays in the pass game? Because that's really where it's been hitting us. So we're looking at holistically in regards to play calls, to techniques, to eye progressions, to make sure it's simple for our guys, to where they know exactly what their keys are, how they should play these techniques in regards to these different situations, so we can play them better.
You mentioned the third downs, and you guys are 85th, I think, in the country in
Yeah.
third downs. I mean, obvious answer, but how much better would the defense be if you're getting off the field on third down?
I mean, BJ, it's monstrous. You know what I mean? There's a reason why we call it money downs. There's a reason why there's such a premium on it across the country, because you work your tail off to get third down. You have to win those third downs, regardless, especially if you get an offensive third and long. I mean, that's favorable to the defense. You have to win those at a high level. And to be elite on defense, you got to win at least 70% of third downs you're in. Obviously, we're not doing that right now. Once again, start with me in regards to situational awareness, play calls, and then in those moments, our guys executing, making a tackle, playing their techniques. So we have to have huge improvement there. Huge improvement.
How much of the third downs, though, was the tackling, or how much of it was the scheme and just San Diego State getting open?
It was a mix of both, guys. I mean, there was a lot encompassing when you give up the third and longs that we did. Once again, I take full responsibility for it, because obviously our guys didn't execute when they needed to, which 100% falls on me, because we got a great group of guys. And I know I'm probably sound like I'm beating a dead horse when I come in here every Monday, but this group of guys, we're going through this stuff with them yesterday, walking through it, the stuff we need to clean up and fix, because we know great offenses, we're going to see the same stuff. The stuff that we've struggled with in mixed downs, first and second down, or on third down, we're going to see it again. And so us making sure that we get this fixed, we know how we're supposed to play these techniques in these situations. And then obviously finding time to make sure we're consistently repping how we tackle across all levels. There was also multiple sacks we missed in regards to tackling. So it's holistic. I obviously take full responsibility making sure they're in better positions in these third downs. And then it's up to our guys having the confidence from practice to go execute it on the biggest moment in games.
This isn't the only building. You guys aren't the only team that's saying we got to tackle better. It's like an epidemic in football right now. It feels like, are you guys not allowed to do some of the drills maybe they were doing here 20 years ago, or you choose not to because you don't want to get guys hurt? Like, what is it in terms of practice where you guys aren't able to maybe tackle the way you want to in the games?
Yeah, it's always a mix between, obviously, the safety of the players first and foremost. But I think, the drills we do, we've been doing it's one of those things you always look at as a coach, because there's games this year maybe we tackled really well, and obviously on Friday night we did not. We did very similar drills. It's not like, we're trying to reinvent the wheel every week. And similar stuff to what we did last year, obviously some things from professional development to see like, hey, what are some drills or some situations we can put our guys in so that they can grow in these tackling angles, if it's from leverage, whatever it might be. But I just think it's just like anything where you have to practice it the way you're going to play it in the game, right? And so does that mean that you're going to be able to take somebody to the ground a ton in practice? No, you're not. You're not going to be able to stay healthy that way. Not only the tackler himself, but even the ball carriers. That's where guys can get banged up in practice. So you got to be smart to keep your guys healthy. but you can still get a lot of really good work in practice without having to take guys to the ground from the body position. A lot of it for our guys on Friday night was just our body position as we got to make the tackle. We were high, we were out of position, so we're getting cut back on, and then our leverage in pursuit was off, so we'd have 2 or 3 guys overrunning the play, and then we're getting cut back on. So a play that could have, hopefully was maybe a negative play for them, turns into +10, +12, and in a lot of situations was a first down. And so those are the things. So it's not only the tackle itself, it's also the leverage and the pursuit, because our guys are hungry, they're playing hard, they're pursuing. Now it's making sure we're pursuing with the right leverage. Am I an outside-in player, an inside-out player, and them working together. So I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but we are able to get the work in we need to be able to practice the right way during games. Now it's just the right drills we're doing, and then especially when we're in practice, from scout team periods to service periods, making sure our guys, if we're not taking guys to the ground, the body position you are getting to on that ball carrier needs to be the exact same body position you're going to have in a game. So then you can actually make that tackle. You have the confidence then to make that tackle when you need to.
When you look at that stud position for you guys, Kamale Correa and guys from the past, and Curtis Lewis with this expectation that you got to go out and get double-digit sacks. What you're asking Dimitri Washington to do now, he's setting edges the other day. He's playing physical. Like, what do you think the way Dimitri's playing?
I think Dimitri's playing really well. I really do. I think he had one of his better games on Friday night. It was awesome to see him get a sack. I think he played one of the better games he's played the week before, too. So he's really put 2 really good games together. And just like anything, a lot of it depends on, obviously, from a play call situation, but also what we're getting, too. Against San Diego State, there's a lot of max protection. There's a lot of different ways that they're able to seal these edges. And so it's not always going to be a situation where an edge player can go out there and create the disruption that they might, depending on the offense you see. But Dimitri's doing a great job, man. It's awesome to see a guy that's been here, for 6 years, has been injured consistently, starting to play at a very high level. He's always had it in him. He's just been banged up and had to get back. And you talk about a guy that's tirelessly working when no one's watching just to get himself right, and he's playing at a high level now. And excited for him to continue to grow his craft as the year goes on, because he has potential to be really, really good for us, even continuing to grow through the season.
How tough is DJ Schramm?
Oh man, you guys don't want to get me teared up right now, because he's one of the toughest human beings I've ever met in my life, man. And seeing him not only get banged up in the UCF game, not able to play the North Dakota game, working himself to get healthy, and then getting banged up again in the San Diego State game. You talk about a guy that would do anything for his place. I would trust him with my life. I know every guy in this room would do the same. And so, like I said, I'd spend 2 hours in here talking about how tough DJ is and how much I trust him and how much he means to this place.
In 3 weeks, Marco's gone from, I think, 3 career tackles to now being the leader back there. Just what has he done to put himself in position to be kind of the focal point of your defense?
Yes. Without even missing a beat, I give DJ Schramm a lot of credit as well. You talk about a guy that even last year, as DJ was playing at a high level, Marco was working into that. Then Marco tore his ACL against New Mexico, but the habits Marco has very similar to DJ in regards to how he preps, how he handles the meeting room, how he's in the training room. You look at Marco's notes, it's like something out of like a Rain Man. It's just everything's color coordinated, color coordinated. He goes through it. It matters to him. He puts a ton of prep in, and he did the exact same when he was injured. He was one of the few guys was injured out for the season, still came to every single meeting, still did everything as if he was playing, because he didn't want his mind not to stay sharp. And fast forward 365 and so days, and now he's in the limelight and it's showing. And he's playing at a high level. And once again, it comes from a guy that was working when no one really even knew who Marco was, and now seeing him play and play at a high level, and really being a guy, in regards to eligibility, truly a freshman. In regards to redshirted, got hurt last year, didn't play. So this is really his freshman year, being able to play the way he is. Excited for him to grow in this program. He's doing a really good job.
What are your thoughts on the United Nations?
Yeah. It's been it's cool to see. It's cool to see our guys grow throughout the year. You talk about Ahmed Hussein, working his tail off and being able to get some of the production that he did. Even getting Max Steege in there, rolling a little bit. We got a great group of guys, and I'm not sitting up here just trying to blow smoke at you guys. We really do. Young in certain spots, failing, learning from it, having to grow quickly in a lot of different situations because of that. but they're awesome to be around, and they really truly are growing. A lot of things on Friday night that didn't go our way are fixable. Now we have to fix them, starting with me, but they're fixable. A tackle here, a misunderstanding of a technique in this situation, they're fixable, and we're growing. Now we got to grow quickly. Like I was talking to the defense yesterday, there's only 2 ways you learn life: through pain or through wisdom. And right now, there's some situations where we've learned through pain. We've made mistakes in games that have hurt us. Now let's take the wisdom to learn from those past mistakes. Even if maybe I wasn't the one actually in on that play, let's learn from that. So when it comes up against Memphis, comes up against San Jose State, we can learn and grow from it. Because years past, we talk about you've had guys that have 2 years under their belt of playing experience. They've been in these situations. They know what it feels like. Our guys now are getting there. This is game 5. And so now it's time for us to we got to be way better from game 4 to game 5.
Who's responsible for the United Nations nickname there, and how many of the 8 languages can you speak fluently?
I can't take credit for it, and I'll tell you what, I mean, yeah, I can speak one decently well. I can tell you that, yes. Other than that, that's about all I got.
Is it unique though, all the group of so many guys, different backstories and they're from along the way?
It's awesome. I mean, you talk about, that's one of the many reasons why I love this game. I mean, you talk about, just using Ahmed, a guy from Egypt that came to the States as a junior, didn't speak a lick of English, and is at Boise State, had no idea what or where Boise State was prior to signing outside of videos, came on campus, saw the blue field, was like, what in the world, what's going on here? Like, from a Max Steege, who first time to Boise, Idaho was on his official visit. You look at these guys, like, when's the situation that maybe I would have met a Max Steege? Or an Ahmed Hassan if I wasn't coaching football, I wasn't a part of this brother. I probably never would have, just because of happenstance or whatnot, probably never even have met them. And they're phenomenal young men that God has such a great plan for their life, and seeing it come together, like, that's football. And that's the beautiful part about this game. You got 110 guys that are from Texas, California, Hawaii, Germany, Egypt, and they come together as brothers. And you look at the guys as they hang out. Ahmed Hassan, I think Marco and Mason are roommates, and seeing them hang out and be friends, like that is created through this beautiful game of football, because you create these friendships that doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak, what color your skin is. We're all brothers. We're in this room. We're a part of this family together, and that's the beautiful part of this game.
With Ahmed last week, and he was saying like how badly he needed some production to validate the work that he's putting into practice. Happening in North Dakota for a guy like Jaden Virgin, what is his ceiling, and for him to be a little productive, family and friends for that matter, last Saturday, Friday, what will that do for him? What's his ceiling?
I think Jaden Virgin has the potential to be a really, really good player for us. Obviously, as a redshirt freshman, so much is still untapped. But you talk about, he's one of the most explosive athletes on our team. In regards to just testing numbers, him running, his explosiveness, and seeing him grow even from fall camp to now is exciting. Coach Frazier, Coach Allen doing a great job with him. A guy that from high school played a lot of tight end, a little bit of defense, and then coming out here now as a redshirt freshman and being a guy that I think can truly grow into being a guy that can win one-on-ones consistently on the edge in regards to pass rush, which is what we need and what we put a high priority on with our edge guys. And so you see a guy from San Diego, plays a lot against San Diego State, gets a fumble recovery in a huge moment that Ahmed was able to force out. Some of those plays, I think, just builds your confidence that, okay, not only am I going on the field and I'm playing, now I'm actually I'm growing, I'm playing better, and that builds your confidence to then, I want more of this. I want to make sure I'm studying even more in this film room. I'm growing all my habits because potentially, he's got it all.
What did you see from Jaden on that fumble recovery? It looked like, from watching the replay, kind of, no matter which way the lineman was trying to turn him, he just always kept his head on the quarterback, always kept his eyes on the quarterback. Just what do you like about that intensity that he has?
That's all. That's something that at the end of the day, when you talk about defense, you got to create takeaways, and especially when you find a way to get the ball on the ground, we got to get it. We talk about that all the time. It's a huge emphasis for us. We rep drills of it, but in that moment, it was a guy, Jaden Virgin, wanted that ball more than anybody on that field, and he got it. No matter who was jumping on him, who was piling on that thing, was squirreling around, and he found a way to get it for our team, which then put our offense in a great situation. I think the ball was on the minus 24-yard line going in, huge swing in the game. It was just his want-to, which is huge.
Andy Avalos making his return to the Liberty Bowl after that tackle or that interception return. Now, what do you like? How many times has that ever shown to guys, or do you remember that? What do you seen about that play? And then he's not big on reflecting, but for him, his last college game being there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, BJ, when the last time we for sure showed it to our guys a couple times. I think it's actually on one of my LB highlights that I show some of the recruits. And I'm like, who is that? Like, I have no idea. I'm like, well, that's the head coach. You're about to go meet with here in a couple minutes. You know what I mean? But we show it to our guys a lot, regards to even just, Coach Collins, who coached Coach Avalos, our defensive coordinator. He'll show it. But I think it's exciting to be able to go back there. And I'm sure that video will pop out here, one of these team meetings or defensive meetings as the week goes.
Anything else?
Ashton Genty, luckily you don't have to try to stop him.
Jeez.
Well, what's your take on this, Spence, what he's doing?
I mean, guys, when I'm sitting in that box watching what he does, I mean, it is awesome. I'll tell you what, being on the other side of it, having to defend him, and even going through fall camp and spring ball going against him, I'm not going to speak to where he ranks or where he is nationally and what that. I think some of the stats speak for themselves. But you talk about a young man that, does a lot for this football program. And if I'm a defensive coordinator going against Ashton Genty in that offense, that's going to be a lot. Because at the end of the day, you look at a guy that not only can catch the ball in the backfield very well, and I know Coach Hammond's going to hit this, the screen game's lethal because of obviously what TG can do as well, but a guy that even if when stuff goes wrong, okay, there's unblocked guys. We didn't block the linebackers. He still makes ways to create plays and big-time plays. We're not talking just an extra 2-3 yards. That thing might go an extra 30 just because his want to and who he is as a football player. That's a difference maker because you don't have an answer for that. Okay, you put a guy in the right spot to make a tackle, but can he actually make it? It's proven that that's not as consistent as you want it to as a defensive coach.
Anything else?
Is DJ during those kind of games, communicating with your defense? I mean, for a player to do that, like, it just feels like he actually has real impact or value when he does that.
No doubt. I mean, DJ, like I said, because you don't want to get me teared up on a Monday afternoon, man, but you talk about a guy that the respect his teammates have for him, not because DJ has made these tackles or even because he's been voted a captain, is because a lot of these guys have seen him work over the years. They've seen him. So they don't need to listen to DJ and his words. They've seen him work. So when he tells them things or he tells them checks or he tells them what it takes to play this game, they've already seen him do it. And so a guy that is a huge leader of our defense and a huge leader of our team, when he's hurt and he's banged up and can't play, when he tells the player, hey, think about this or do this, or even in that game I got him on the phone and said, hey, talk to the backers about this, they're listening to him. And not even just the linebackers. The secondary rule, the D-line, because they know he knows exactly what he's talking about. One, because he's played a lot of football. Two, because he's put more time than anybody in studying this thing too. And so that creates that confidence within your teammates. So when he says something, they believe him and they trust him.